Yo, what's up folks, MTG here with an Explorer deck that's been in the format for quite a while in different forms. Here, I'm calling it Boros Feather, because we are playing a Feather version of the deck, but it's also gone by Boros Aggro, Red-White Aggro, Red-White Heroic, because you do have a lot of heroic creatures. But here we are. So, before we kind of get into kind of the list, the big thing is like, hey, we're playing Feather. That cuts us off from playing Gigante in our sideboard, which has been a kind of staple of the Red-White Aggro decks for quite a while. And prior to that, of course, in Pioneer, we had Luris floating around for a bit, but alas, that is no longer the case. The big upside to playing Feather is versus mid-range decks, be it that black-red or controlling things, where you get to recycle your protection spells, and then you still have this super aggressive game plan if you want to be. And one of the cards that helps out a lot is Girth for Battle, because you can cast this every turn, put counters on your creatures. So there's a few different choices. One of the main things, the homesteads that you would normally see in a non-feather version of the deck aren't here, as these cards ideally will return into your hand with feather at some point in the game, and unfortunately homestead. The upside of homestead is that you have flashback, and we're already getting 3 user cards here, which is super nice. Let's get into the actual kind of creature base. So 4 copies of Favored Hoplite, 4 copies of Monastery Swiftspear, which is another kind of semi-recent pickup. It's been a while now. And then 4 copies of Soulscar Mage. In fact, Hoplite actually only came in fairly recently in the grand scale of things. 12 aggressive 1-drops. Obviously, the Swiftspear and the Soulscar Mage get bigger when you cast spells with prowess, and the Hoplite has the heroic ability, which gives him counters but also prevents damage, which is quite nice. When you're sometimes the maths for like reckless range and things are a bit difficult with Soulscar Mage, especially when you're like, okay, I want to make a block and then like reckless rage, kill this and this. You're like, oh well, I've got 2 damage on my Soulscar Mage. If it's got like 2 damage on it, if it takes damage from something else, maybe it dies. You don't have to worry about any of that with Favored Hoplite. It also means you can use things like Defiant Strike to save it from damage-based removal, which is super nice. And 2, we have 10th District Legionnaire. Kind of 2 mana hasty, pseudo heroic creature, +1/+1 counter at scry when it's targeted, and then 2 copies of Dreadhorde Arcanist, which has gone in and out of the deck a little bit. It is quite nice with Feather because the spell gets exiled to Feather's effect instead of going to the graveyard. So Dreadhorde lets you cast it as also from your graveyard when it attacks. You can buff it up with things like Titan Strength, your pump spells, and then recast stuff from the graveyard like that too. Though, to be fair, all your spells do cost 1 mana. Cost 1 mana. But then, yeah, if you have Dreadhorde Arcanist and Feather in play, you can get something back you used earlier and get it back to hand with Feather. Now, Feather, again, the kind of key engine card of the deck, recycles your instants and sorceries, ideally. It's a 3 mana 3/4, which is very survivable. Like, sometimes it'll get bolted, and sometimes you do end up having to run it out on turn 3. You are playing only, you're like 12, 17, 20 creatures in total, and sometimes you can kind of like not end up with that many threats. But hey, Red-White Aggro puts up a lot of pressure very quickly, and with Feather, you can kind of grind a little bit too, versus the more mid-range decks. I think it's a pretty solid choice. The mana base, 4 Sacred Foundry, 4 Needlebird Patchwork, I don't know what I just said, 4 Needlebird Pathway, 4 Inspiring Advantage, 4 Battlefield Forge, because you need to cast a bunch of different combinations of 1 mana spells, and then 2 copies of Den of the Bugbear, which is really nice versus control decks of Wrath and things, where you get to just like, okay, cool, I forgot my lands, I will finish you off with a manland. Yeah, fairly straightforward. Into the sideboard, Rending Volley, 3 copies, 2 copies of Roiling Vertex, another thing for kind of those decks that want to kind of kill your things. You're like, hey, okay, I'm going to put this into play, I've done some damage to you, and then the other thing is that it's super powerful versus Fires of Invention. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, Roiling Vertex deals 5 damage to them. Pretty great, and you can just stop your opponent gaining life, which is pretty nice. 2 copies of Deathling Clarion does double duty here, both as a sweeper, but also you can give your creatures lifelink, so you kind of get the, hey, if you're behind, say you're on the draw versus red or white, use the sweeper side. If you're ahead on the play, hey, it still works out. Give your creatures lifelink, put you ahead in the race. That's great. And sometimes you get to do both because your creatures grow. it doesn't take a lot for Deathling Clarion to be able to kill your opponent's stuff and not yours. Then a few different tools. We've got 4 copies of Portable Hull, again for other aggro decks. We've got 3 copies of Light of Hope, which is kind of an interesting one. One of the cards you worry about with decks like this, where you've got a lot of protection versus targeting, is something like Temporary Lockdown. And so Light of Hope deals with temporary lockdown at instant speed, which is nice, but then also isn't completely dead in those matchups if you like they don't have one of the 4 temporary lockdowns. And we're talking about whether that be like fires or blue-white, as per temporary lockdown's great. And so having tools to kill it is really important. And this kind of does, you can use it because you can, it also is the mode to counter a target. It isn't just dead if they just don't have it, which is super, super, super handy. So 3 copies there, and then 1 copy of Fight as 1. Again, just another protection spell to use. I should say you're looking like, oh, well, there's no graveyard hate. And you do have these 3 vending volleys, which of course do kill Greasefang, and you also have 4 copies of Reckless Rage, which is a super, super nice way to kill it that also triggers your heroic things. So yeah. Let's get into some ranked matches. Cue it up. Yeah. So Red White Heroic's a deck that I've played a little bit in Paper and Pioneer, and quite a lot in Explorer, like before I really started making videos. That was kind of the versions that were like kind of towards the start to like. I wouldn't say early on, like mid to before summer, basically in 2022, where Gigantha was definitely the way to go. And say you can still do Gigantha healings now, but I think Feather might be better at the moment. 1 land hand, not great. Now you end up in some real weird spots with this deck because I'm sure I've played against this player before. Because you do have a bunch of 1 mana spells. And so these 1 land hands do look kind of keepable. And here we have a Defiant Strike, we have Titan Strength to Scry. It's quite tempting. And of course, if any second land lets us cast a lot of spells. So I think I am actually going to keep this. And pray not to get punished. Now leave a Favored Hoplite with the idea to hopefully draw a land and then go Swiftspear plus Gear for Battle next turn. Other important note to make is that Gear for Battle is a sorcery, so less get surprising. And so versus some of the, we do hit the one here. So we'll go Swiftspear. And it might actually be better to play the Defiant Strike to get the card. Now, they're looking at their hand to see what they can deal with us. I think actually, because of damage-based removal, like Lightning Strike, I'm kind of fine for, because you have to play this at sorcery speed anyway, and I might put a stop on my upkeep to play the Defiant Strike, Titan Strike, depending on what they do here. Yeah. Or get the attack inside. Puts them down to 13. I will make a stop. I don't know if I'll actually use it. It depends on what they do. If they main phase a kill spell for the Swiftspear, then I might... Okay. With the Pyromancer, because we're not too worried about it blocking, I think I'm actually just going to go to my draw step. You can carry on. We hit the land, which is kind of nice. Now, we can go Legionnaire attack and force them into some decisions. Very hard for them to not block here. This is a 3/2. This, of course, gets a counter on it. Plus the Titan Strength. The other thing to consider, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because we're not expecting any kind of sweeper, I'm just going to Titan Strength the 10th Strength Legionnaire, make it sure it kills the Pyromancer. We still do get the Prowess trigger here, at least for damage. We'll scry this land to the bottom now. 3 is fine. And we'll keep Feather on top. This one down to 6. They need to put 2 creatures into play, basically. Oh, okay. Sorry. They get the Kimono. But they're under a ton of pressure here. They have a Lightning Strike, they want to use it now. The light of the staging basically need to have a blah blah blah. The that's a cool. Oh, okay. Skewer the critics is what I was suggesting. But yeah. Alright, that's game one. How do we feel here? You've got portable holes. We've got Deafening Clarion. Like, it is sort of tempting to bring these Light of Hopes in. They do kill some things. Give us Kimonos, but, and of course it does gain the full life, but it's not what we're really wanting to do here. In terms of what we're cutting, the draw at least, these Guther battles are actually quite awkward, given that they're going to have a bunch of removal for us. And then I'm also... This is a matchup where you're like, okay, Feather might be a little too slow. And so, in that regard... I'm more tempted to cut the Arcanists. I think this is the way to set up. The Arcanists, like, if we're getting to attack with Arcanists, we're already kind of just winning. But, yeah. Have a look again. Interaction. The thing about the Feather is that you can play it on turn 3, and they don't really have great ways to kill it. And then, obviously, it interacts super well with, like, Deafening Clarion, and obviously does the normal Feather things. Yeah. And you're saying, like, if you're asking, like, why go for balance? Because you have to do it at sorcery speed, so we don't get to kind of use it to play around their removal a little bit. Let's see. Can we afford to keep 2 one-landers? We have 2 copies of Defiant Strike, and 2 1-up creatures, and 2 protection spells. And we're on the draw, so I'm going to keep it. And you do get into difficult spots like this where you're like, okay, well, this doesn't feel great. But, hey. I feel better about it, given they don't have a removal spell on turn 1. The Swiftspear. Gonna make a favourite Hoplite and pass. Alright, Mountain. They're gonna stomp now, perhaps? Yeah. Get a stomp on the Hoplite. Fair enough, fair enough. During the Hoplite, we're expecting them to play Bone Crusher Giant next turn, so I think I'm just gonna make a Hoplite. The Hoplite can still attack into the Bone Crusher Giant, or block the Bone Crusher Giant, because once it's been targeted, it prevents the damage. If etchings at 2, our opponent did more into 6. Robber. Ooh. That's not nice. No blocks. Alright, that was a swearing advantage. We do hit another one. Okay. 4 going to 9, and then they're on 2 lands, potentially playing a Bone Crusher Giant. I'm trying to think what else they'll have. I kind of want to play both our creatures out, but then also it's not super great. We can play Swiftspear and go like onto the aggro stuff. Let me go to 9. We have more mana and creatures to play with next turn. Yeah, this goes into play the creatures. Or kind of force them to hold back a little bit. I think I want to be proactive towards drawing for a 3rd land anyway. Gonna go on the aggro train. There's a Reckless Rage. It's a nice pickup. You're not down to 15 here. Obviously have 4 damage on the board. They did hit a land. We'll see if they make the giant. You can burn the giant down. That'll mean it'll take us down to 7 in total. Okay, they have a red cap melee. Sure. No lightning strike as of yet. Exile a Feather, get a Soulscar Mage. Now we get to hold up the Reckless Rage potentially. So now I kind of like Hoplite pass. Then we get to play with the Reckless Rage. This kind of stops them attacking as well. I've kind of changed how I'm playing this because the red cap melee to kill the Swiftspear. Alright, that's a 4 lands. Attack. Can now have this is dangerous. Plot of the Robber. I was gonna say they can have Embercleave. The 4th land means that makes it staggers. This is fine. We go to 7. Then what's the play? I can make feather. Okay. And now we'll... That returns to my hand, right? Maybe it does go to that hand, actually. That's some interesting wording. We're gonna kill in response to stop the drawing a card. I'm not sure if that fizzles the trigger or not. I feel like I should know that. It does. But now they have 2 damage, 2 cards. I'm gonna lead off by Defiant Striking one of these. Alright, we drew a non-painful land, which is this. I'm fairly happy just attacking with both of these now. We have 2 God's Willings to have clear S3. That's them down to 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chandra. Okay, they can go Chandra plus Giant here. Depending on what other card they have in hand is. Okay, they're gonna exile top card instead. So Stomp. Stomp's maybe the worst card they could draw. I was meant to say red. What on earth? What did I say? I say white. That's incredible. Okay. No blocks. And then... I felt real dumb for a second. Good. Ignore that. No problem, no problem, no problem. All that looks is super BM. Sorry, that wasn't intentional. As me actually just not paying attention. So apologies to my opponent. Okay, so mono red down. Let's queue up for another match. Playing Aggro is neat because we generally get to pick to see a larger number of matchups, in like a time span. Normally, I like to record normally I want to get as much as I can done in about an hour, and if we're close to an hour after playing a couple of matches, I'll play an extra one. Just like if we're at like 50 minutes or whatever. Just to showcase as much as possible. Also, not to go too long. There's no real like incentive to do it other than to kind of give people more matches to watch. Channel's not monetized at the moment. Well, that's worth. On that note, please, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, and also thank you for like all the amazing support over the last 4 or 5 months. I started in September-ish. This looks solid. We have 2 lands, which is nice to see. We have a 1-drop. We have another 1-drop. We have pump spells. We have protection. Gigantha on the other side. I want to read that into that much. I still want to get the Feather Hoplite out first, even though I'd kind of rather sequence the Bugbear before the Vantage. Okay. Trying to remember the red-green boats deck. How many red spells? I'm gonna try and... Thing is, Ultra Beast is actually super problematic because it's big. It's big. I think we just try and work through it next turn, not use a pump spell here, so that we have the Titan strength to break through the 5/5. If it blocks the Favored Hoplite, then we don't lose the creature. If it blocks the Monster Swiftspear, then we do, and so be it. Or potentially, if we have another spell, we don't. As it is, they're going to Obliterating Bolt. I'm just going to God's Willing. This time we'll choose the right colour. We'll keep that on top, actually. Pretty happy to see Defiant Strike. So could be tempted to just run out the Feather here. then have strike up next turn. I don't think there are a lot of good punishes for that. They have shown us bolt, but if they go for bolt next turn, then they're really running into trouble on the board. Like here, they're just chop blocking. I think that's a good sign that they don't have another removal spell. But also, like, obviously, and that they are planning on blocking with a Love-Struck Beast. Ooh, Mutavault. Okay, interesting. Let's target the Hoplite. Yeah, they block here. They kind of have to. So for point, we want to fight as one human and non-human. Human creature wants to be the Swiftspear. Non-human wants to be the Feather. And then we can Titan Strength over on the favored Hoplite for his counter. Put line on the bottom. And they're on 5. And we get all our spells back. You have to see it, you have to see it. This is how we drew it up. This is how we drew it up. Fair play, fair play. So post-board here... I don't love a lot. I'm trying to think if we want to change anything. The answer might be no. Obviously, we did not see very much, but I kind of have to assume that they're on red-green boats. I do kind of want to bring in this Fight of One. Not even Light of Hope. They do play some Sagas occasion. I don't love the Clarions, though that's a bit closer, potentially. No, not a big fan. I'm kind of happy to almost just run it back. Nothing I'm super worried about. So yeah, we'll bring the Fight as one, and as what we're going to take out... I think we actually are going to cut a Legionnaire. It's just the way removal spells work. Sometimes we need to double up on Reckless Rage to kill some of the bigger stuff. So the Dreadhorde Arcanists do actually get quite good. Oh well, are still pretty good. And Tezzeret Legionnaire, when they've got like a red removal spell, like Burn-based stuff, it is a bit more expensive, so it's harder to hold up protection spells or interaction. So I think I'm going to run this way. Feather's still super awesome, and then also, like, again, does favour this, but also has evasion in this matchup, which is actually pretty nice. See what they come at us with here. Just Feather. The problem with Feather on his own is that she dies to Obliterating Bolt just straight up if we don't have another creature. We're on the draw with some cards. I would like to have an early creature threat. This looks better. So I'm going to keep this. I think I'm just going to bottom the Legionnaire. Where's the answer to bottom the... Oh, because the count is at a real level. What does our curve look like here? I kind of want to keep the Defiance Strike as a spell. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to do this. We keep our 3 lands. We've got 3 lands for our Feather. Maybe bottoming a land is right. An interesting one. They haven't Llanowar Elf start, which is obviously pretty much the best thing they can do. Yeah, we'll leave with Hoplite. They're just gonna crush at this. They can cast the next turn. They have another Elvish Mystic, which means you might see something like a Sky Sovereign here. Gonna have the 5 mana. Cast the Soul Skull Mage still. Okay, and we'll duplicate that. As one spell isn't saving these really from... Well, it protects from Burglar Giant, but it played 1 Chariot. Okay. we're in a spot where we kind of have to rely on Feather here. They're gonna pick up the pace damage-wise pretty quickly with this going. And we're gonna basically have to try and attack through the air with Feather and then eventually get some blocks going here. With that in mind, a little eek. A little worried. Alright. Love Strip Beast. There. Okay. Bruise. The thing is, at least this turn, attacking with the... They're gonna, like, lose some stuff if they attack. I have to work out how I want to line this up. So we're gonna take... 5, 6. And then I will eat the elves, I think, and let this token through. And that means we can block the Soul Scar Mages later on. The Silent Fighting Strike, potentially. We just have to think about the damage. And it's not quite the draw we wanted. Let's scry with the Titan Strength. If we find something good, we'll cast the Titan Strike now. If not, we'll wait till later cast it on our opponent's turn. To let us block a little bit. Trying to think about the maths. So this is 6. Oh, in fact, we do both, don't we? I'm dumb. Alright, we actually get to, you know, Feather do be doing feather things. Yeah, I want the Titan Strike to block with. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. Not quite maths. This is 7. If they make another roll at attack, they can die. Which is okay. And we'll get our cards back. Alright, alright. So, 5. Alright, okay. So this crews the chariot. Okay, so do they attack with everything? Just gonna go in with these. Because of this token, we can't actually get a good block on... We could trade maybe one of the Soul Skull Mages with the chariot. The thing to remember is that we get to keep one of our Soul Skull Mages alive here. I think we do this. There's double Titan Strength for Soul Skull Mage now. If we double block one, like, we're not really getting through on the ground with Soul Skull Mage anyway now, so you just want to block the most damage. Because this has made it token for the turn. Double block here, take 4, go to 8. We get to kill one of the Soul Skull Mages. We have a favored Hoplite to play in our hand. We'll see what we draw for our turn. To be honest, I might stop on my upkeep. We can get a Scribe before we draw. Um, 3, 6, 9, 10. Doesn't quite do it. That's the other thing we're not playing is the trample card. And again, it's because in the ideal world, they're not going to graveyards. It's just a +1/+0 and trample each time. We're gonna Titan Strength Feather and upkeep here. See what we can find. Favored Hoplite go... Oh, okay. So we can go land... We can go play here. In which case, 4, 8... Yeah, I think we'll have enough blockers. I like that idea, and then we can kill them with Feather next turn. Yeah, okay. I'm in. That's the plan, at least. which is to favour them drawing a Obliterating Bolt this turn. They also have this layer of the Hydra we need to be aware of. But the most likely thing is they go Gigant the Crew. Gonna set this so I don't forget about it. Yeah, Gigantha, they get to crew up. If 3 tokens. What does the mass look like here? Let's say. We can remove this. Yeah, they know we've got the Defiant Strike. Oh, that was close. Jeez. Hey, we do take those. Good times, good times. So mono red, and then red green boats / red green vehicles. Which actually, to be honest, an arena we don't see too much of. They do. I'm trying to remember if I have 4 or not already. Icy odds are weird. Let's go again. See if we can get a third consecutive different matchup. Try and showcase as much as possible. Bello Elo? Oh my. Come on, please be playing Bello. A bit of a Boros mirror, okay. No creatures isn't great. No lands isn't great. 5. I want to get rid of the Girth Battle and the Defiant Strike. Keep Favored Hoplite, Reckless Raise Feather. That seems to be what I want to do. I don't want to just keep the one creature. Okay. Well, this is not. This should have been my advantage. This is not Bellamachus Elo. So the Spirits matchup is interesting. They have some stuff, we have some stuff, but Reckless Rage is a 1-mana move as well. Tends to be the kind of thing that breaks it open. It is sometimes the case that if you draw Reckless Rage, you win. If you don't, you don't. Route change here, we're going to say fine for. And then if they try and like Curious Obsession and that kind of thing, then we'll try and focus interaction. The thing about it is that if they like protect or use some counter spell on a Reckless Rage, that's generally normally costing them more mana. And we'll do this way to get the favorite Hoplite trigger. Yeah, so hopefully get our token. Yeah, so they have Lofted Honor here. They'll get the Curious Obsession, but now we get to untap and make Feather without them being able to interact with it, even if they have the cards. And then it relies a little bit on us drawing a spell, but basically any spell on our deck is good with Feather in play. I'm gonna regret that in a moment. Potential, they have like a Brazen Boros to bounce it. There we go. Alright. Maybe they can carry it on the way back down, maybe not. Hitting an extra land isn't great. If they have another Lofted Arm now, actually it's a full counter spell. We'll declare attacks first. I would like to get the fact down. At least try to. Alright, they have the snare. Which is and a sailor. It'd be pretty problematic if they have a lord here. Faceless Haven's a little awkward. The thing with Heroic is you always have like live draws. If we're going to 8 here, it's likely that they'll be able to have lethal attack next turn. They're on 13. If we draw spells, well, the other things is Faceless Haven. If without the spells, which you kind of just had to draw here, Faceless Haven just opposite attacking. This is probably GG. keep a card in hand, but play out the favorite Hoplite. And yeah, attacks and a turn. Oh dear. Or okay, cool. Yeah, they have another creature. So, and the Spring Mad. At Fiddle downtown. So, Portable Hole, Trending Volley. Interesting. We have a lot of cards this match. Clarion's an interesting one where the Lords make it awkward. The Life Gain's good. The problem is that there's some cards here that are pretty clunky. Or on the play, I think Feather's quite defendable. The Clarions maybe don't make the cut just because of that. Because we are now at 69 cards. I'm going to pull these out. And I'm going to get rid of some of these 2s. At that point, we're still at 2 cards. Guard for Battle is probably the worst of these. The Fight of Ones don't get a double trigger. At instant speed, which is a little bit better, but they're not really worried about protecting its removal. It's just kind of aggro stuff. I think we're better off cutting the fight, go for battles, and leaving the Fight of One, just so that we can play at instant speed a little bit. Maybe sabotage an opponent in combat. So everything's fairly telegraphed. Obviously they don't have damage-based removal. I'm actually going the other way. We'll do this way around. Notably, also, Fight of One doesn't necessarily target 2 things. Only sometimes. You have to play. Double Feather, no other creatures is a little too rough, I think. Swiftspear, we'll do bottom of Feather here, but this will do. And we'll do that. Pow. Wonder also interesting. Could just kill it here. Gonna look to. I don't want to Defiant Strike. I don't want to save this Rending Volley for Feather, but it becomes a little problematic. Because it's uncounterable, we can at least wait a little bit till their turn. I'm gonna. Play out the Defiant Strike first. I actually do want the card here because we mulliganed. I'm not gonna let them like randomly 1-for-1 themselves with it. And we want to hold up the Rending Volley. And also have the Defiant Strike when we get further down. The plan is to be a bit disruptive here. They might just go land pass. Is fair enough. Comes over. Here they go. Alright, in that case, I don't love playing Feather. The 2 open mana. So I want to give them a tempo. So we're going to Defiant Strike up. They do still have our Ending Volley. We get Soulskull Mage to play, which is decent. We get attack for 3. We'll do this. That is fine. Now if they tap out for stuff here, then we get to do everything, but that's unlikely. I'm just gonna say go again. Then Spirit. Okay. Now I feel like we're in a position where we have to cast Feather. I'll make the land king case. That resolve, which is a pretty good sign. They're on 13. This comes back. Doesn't get counted. I think I'm going to try and kill this Ender Spirit. I don't want to make them use the mana for it, though. I'm going to attack. Maybe they say no blocks, actually. And that's fine. The thing that stops the Rending Volley is Rattle Chains. If they pay the mana here, then I will Rending Volley it. I don't know why I feel like we get to recur this with Feather. Did I say that? I maybe said that. Yeah, you do not get to do that. But hey. Oh, this is worked out. Alright, I'm really dumb. You don't get to recur the rending volley with Feather, but it is still like a card advantage engine. I don't know. And you can recur like Reckless Rage and stuff. There was one time where on in a feature match at the Pro Tour, where there's a thing where you'd like so Sylvan Carrier was like a hexproof creature, and if you wanted to, you could kill your opponent's Sylvan Carrier with Bile-Blight, because Bile-Blight does damage, gives -3/-3 to every creature with the same name, including your opponents. So yours and your opponents. You could do it on your own to get around the hexproof. And the reason why this is super relevant is because there was a deck called Jeskai with Jeskai Ascendancy that had a combo that you could just use Sylvan Carrier for as a hexproof, like uninteractable creature, and kind of go off with it. Make it big, and then have some way of killing your opponent. There are a few different ways to do that. I'm just gonna run this back, I think. I do still like the Feather. Yeah. It's clunkier on the draw. Is there anything else we can try and do? Maybe the Master Mourner spells. When on the draw, the Feather is much worse. I'm gonna play this way. We're gonna do this. Just be 1 mana dot deck. Okay. Alright. Words of things. Yeah, sorry. The rest of the story. So this is something that's brought up on commentary. You're like, Bile-Blight my own. I'm gonna maybe Bile-Blight my own 7 characters. I think it was Li Shi-Chan. In fact, I know that. Who was playing Jeskai Ascendancy combo, but to kill Li Shi's creature. This is super interactive. I'm gonna put the fighters on the bottom. We've only got one creature, but the rest of the hand looks pretty solid. We'll lead off with a flavored Hoplite. This is a little bit of a pseudo combo, like if they get really big creatures. The Rending Volley should kill anything they play. But hey, we'll see. Okay, no Curious Obsession. Fair enough. And I've still not got to the end of the story. Basically, they were talking about that a little bit, and then later on, one of the players is like, they could like lightning strike their own. It might have been a braid or something. Maybe they're gonna lightning strike their own Silver Character. Like that's how it works all the time. Like, maybe not. Second, we got a Titan Strength. Kind of hanging on to Soulscar Mage. I think I do want to bottom this. All the spells and whistles. The way things have gone so far, I'm happy to just play this out. And yeah, they end up goal snaring the Soulscar Mage. It's okay. It's double Rending Volley, Portable Hole. It's awkward because they still have more cards than us. But yeah. That basically, that was how I felt about the Rending Volley. And it took me like 10 minutes to say that. So yeah. This itself is fine. Go. The Battleforge is awkward. The thing is, because you have a bunch of cantrips, you do want to play out the lands you draw. Like, it's very awkward when it's the last one in your hand, you probably want to hold on to it. But because you can use a bunch of your mana, that is good too. Here this is a little weird. I can start drawing cards off if I really want to, but like we're winning this race for the time being. I am going to cast this because it triples our, well, no. It increases our clock by a lot. I was going to say doubles our clock. It makes it a 3-turn clock. That's enough to say. Maybe have like Brazen Borrower. That'd be kind of annoying. Yeah, that resets us, which is a problem. And we'll recast. Potentially the other cast on the way back down, and that would be much worse. Okay. Let them cast Brazen Borer. Yeah, the music slip out of the back for like the portable holds much worse when we can potentially we can protect one of our better cards. Gonna Rending Volley the Borrower here. Try and keep his head on the clock. Maybe they have a slip out of the back. They have an Ottawara. I'm gonna allow this because it doesn't like they get to reuse it, but and they get to attack us this time. I think this time I let this connect. For 11, we each have to be about how we do this. Like I'm not just gonna cast this Defiant Strike. I'm gonna hang on to it. Oh, maybe they're just gonna hold on to the Brazen Borer. Interesting. Three. Just basic Brazen Borer a 4-turn clock. I'm gonna volley this. Okay, no Rattle Chains. The other thing to think about is that they can start drawing cards off of it, which becomes a lot more worrisome. If we draw a protection spell, we can stop ourselves getting... Okay, well, that's fine too. Stacks us through here. It's just holding on to the Brazen Borer thing. Doesn't feel great. It's like eventually we get got, right? Faceless Haven's pretty good. Now we can't attack. And maybe they do decide to. Wanderer. I think this is the time we force them to use it. Maybe we should just try to force it earlier on. And just deny ourselves the card. I was thinking like if we draw a relevant spell, then it makes sense to just hang on a sec. Alright, so you take 4 here, go to 8, and they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Oh, no, okay. Well, I can't cast it this time. Okay. Means we're not and I'm gonna play this out. Basically, our path to victory involves us casting a bunch of spells, which means we need to draw a cantrip. We go to 8 here. And we're basically just hoping to draw spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 doesn't get us there. And they definitely have lethal next turn. Alright. We're 50 minutes. I'll play one more match. That was rough. And the Rending Volley thing, well, hey. It's really it doesn't like Rending Volley is very much good in the deck and gets played even if in red or white in this deck, like even if you're not playing the feather stuff. So I mean, and it's obviously great in the matchup. But it just feel a little silly to be like, oh yeah, you can just do like, hey look, it's like Reckless Rage. It works the same way, right? You get it back. Like, I don't know. That would be busted, but hey. The 4 damage to blue and white creatures, uncarryable, still pretty great. Again, Grease Fang, great against spirits here. Got a little unfortunate. Let's play one more match. Get one more match in. Yeah, did it look a little silly though. I should say, I'm also out of practice with the red-white deck. I thought I never like got around to making a video with it when I was playing it a ton. I just wasn't making content at the time. I wasn't making YouTube videos. And then it had fallen not off the bandwagon, but it had been a little less popular for a while. Yeah. No companion. Nothing to read into here. The sound looks decent. We have Titan Strength, followed by with Dreadhorde Arcanist to kind of back it up and things. Oh, I see. If this is the same opponent, I didn't. Alright. Now we have Arcanist on 2 though, which may well change things a little bit. See what they have. No session. Oh, the turn 3 den draw is awkward. Let's take favorite Hoplite here. Yeah, there are versions of this deck that play like Boros Charm, which is a nice one to recur with Red Arcanist. Trying to see. We have a protection spell. Fairly happy with our creatures living. Want to find like a Reckless Rage, basically, for some interaction. Let's target the Hoplite here. Again, scry again. And strength will leave on top. We can run this play back next time. That song, same song, one more time. And then yeah, cool. Make the den tapped. Say go. Alright, they have a Rattle Chains. I was gonna say, Rattle Chains is the one card that Reckless Rage is not like they're nuts against. They have a Lord or something like that. They're holding the Wanderer back, which is interesting. I feel like in this context, going strength on the Arcanist might be better. This represents more damage. They have 3 mana as well. If I think they have like a Geistlight Snare, then I think that this is a little better. Because we get the counter whether it gets targeted or not. Again, we're going to put the Swiftspear on the bottom. Now I'm actually thinking maybe we keep it. If they're planning on blocking with the Wanderer here. We've still got 2 spells we can cast. Oh, they're just... okay. They saw us scratch the top and we want no part of that. Alright, okay. So again, we bring in the Rending Volleys, we bring in the Portable Holes, and then we're gonna cut down on these Technostrict Legionnaires. We keep the Arcanists, and I think that I actually do like what we did last time in cutting the feathers when we're on the draw, and we'll get rid of Flight of One. It's still super good with Reckless Rage, but on the draw it's just so clunky. And it is an interesting one where you can... it's interesting to think of matchups in that way. Where on the play, obviously, you have more mana. On the draw, your opponent has more mana. Kind of on these like interactions points where you're on like, oh, okay, I have 1 mana, they're gonna have 2 mana before I have 2 mana. And it matters a lot when you've got like, alright, a bunch of 1 mana spells. And so when you're by the time you've played your feather, they've had 3 turns, have a pile of mana, have access to all their counter spells, have possibly drawn off Curious Possession already, and it just looks like a bit of a bad time. I'm probably going to board some number in on the play for game 3, but probably not very many. So it's still fairly clunky. And like if you're drawing Reckless Rage, you're probably winning the game anyway. Is the truth of it. Shacklegeist. Sorry, when I get the other favorite Hoplite in play, they can just tap this. I'm gonna move to combat, see what they do. Sure. And cast this and say go. And now it looks like we're kind of holding some stuff up. You see, like here they have like 3 mana versus the 1 mana. We have like counter interaction. Another Shacklegeist is kind of dangerous. And maybe it's worth making one of these creatures big sooner rather than later. These can't block, of course, but they can, like, stuff. They get to use the ability to attack creatures. That's what I'm saying. And so if you like go in all in on a creature for combat, so something like Go for Battle, for example, here is really well, Go for Battle's not a good example because it actually does at least pump trigger both of our creatures. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. We're gonna shock ourselves for this. I'm gonna lead off with a portable hole. They shouldn't have mana interaction for this, so we can get the Shacklegeist. Force them to tap down now, and now it makes it. Now we can kind of Titan Strength the other one. Is the idea. Also, going to go for the bigger one. That makes sense. They want a spirit in play now. Got a combat. Titan Strength here. 3 cards. Reckless Rage we keep on top. You stay wanting Reckless Rage. And then we'll make a Scots Carnage. Alright, and then we have 3 pieces of interaction. Oh well. 1 piece of like interaction for their stuff, 1 piece of interaction for their stuff that interacts with our stuff, and this card draw spell which helps our creatures. The Phantom is more awkward. If I kill the Shacklegeist, they want to activate it now. If I kill the Supreme Phantom, which is obviously adding power to their board, they have 1 card left in hand. Makes more sense, because they still have to activate 1 now, either way. They've not got a lethal attack back as of yet. I'm going to Rage the Phantom. The other thing about this is that actually depending on what they go to tap, because they're going to look to probably tap at the start of combat 2, and we can Lauren's escape that creature. Get another prowess trigger, another heroic trigger here. So that in itself is fine. Okay, they're just not super happy. Alright, fair enough. Oh, we're about at the 1 hour mark. We've got 4 matches in. You sort of have a win versus spirits and a loss versus spirits. It really does come down to whether you draw a Reckless Rage shot all the time. It is incredible. And post board you get access to Rending Volley, which is obviously just the nuts. And then yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already. If you stayed here till the end, thank you so much for watching. And peace out. Take care. Oh, and if you have any ideas for like, hey, I want to see you play like these cards, try this archetype that you think is like underplayed, or even like any tier 1 stuff, but you're like, hey, let's see you play with this, let me know in the comments too. Peace out. See ya.